How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to TheBlueShifting and welcome back to chaoschild. So, last episode was exciting. We're sneaking around the hospital. Doors are unlocking on their own. I'm starting to wonder if, like, the common thread that seems to be, oh gosh. Oh, I should know her name. Our, childhood friend who's, like, been there when all the doors have been unlocking. That's weird, but otherwise I'm not sure what's up with that. Hopefully I remember to edit that out. So, anyway, we had the incident where we go through the hospital. Things are looking kind of crazy. We go into the room. It looks like we have I don't know if it was just a delusion or a vision or something, but it looked like a girl sitting in the room drawing pictures of the sumo, like the sumo face stickers, but in blood on the walls. And then we go downstairs, and I think we see that girl because we saw the side ponytail. It's like the blonde girl in the glasses that's short, and she's always accompanied by an old man. And that's where I have my theory that the old man is Taku from the first game. So we had Takumi, the original, who had a disease that as he used his delusional powers, he aged extra quickly. And then he created, in his, ending his last year, he created Takumi, who is a, perfect replica of him, who also was strong with delusions. So I was saying, well, hey, if that Takumi became real Buddha became real, and he used his powers, because he was definitely using them a lot, at the end of that story, maybe he has the same condition. And if so, maybe the old man is Takumi from the first game, because that could be really fun if that were the case. And then, I don't know who she is, a protege, maybe a new real booting, a different, but instead of making a copy of himself, he decided to make a new individual or something. I don't know. I'm waiting for people from the first game to show up somewhere. I feel like it would be odd if they didn't show up at all. So maybe I'm looking around and trying too hard to find people, but it's still I think it's valid. But then, we go through that, and it was I was basically pretty much ready to wrap things up, and then we get the phone call, and it's like, oh yeah, by the way, Kurusu got stabbed, which was just bananas. And that's kind of where we're here, is we had that whole interaction with her, and now he's staying at the house again, which was basically her, not deathbed wish, but I'm ill and got stabbed wish, and he's listening to that. So now we're going to catch up with him. I think we're going to hear some of his thoughts about what this place means to him and why he left. And we're going to kind of step away from it at that point and see where things go. I'm not too sure because I know the investigation is going to continue because the story would just be over. But Kurusu is making some pretty solid points about why they probably should stop. So I don't know. We're going to have to see how this plays out, but I'm excited either way. So let's jump right into things, shall we? I don't have a ton of time, as always, because, my life is just a mess of trying to balance, a full-time life and full-time work and full-time YouTube channel, basically. I basically have 3 full-time jobs and only get paid for one of them, but, that's the way it is. All right, let's jump into it. My room hasn't changed at all since I'd left a half a year ago. Still had the same old bookshelves, same old desk, same old bed. Everything was just as I remembered. And it's funny because, it's like that mostly because Kurusu keeps coming in here and tidying it up and keeping it together. Yeah, well, I figured I would either be turned into a storage room or be covered in dust. Right, he lost his phone. The girl found it. I checked my pockets for my phone, only to realize I dropped it in the hospital. Nowadays, with so much connectivity going on in our phones, losing your phone is basically worse than losing your wallet. I could recover from losing my wallet easier than I could recover from losing my phone. And that those 2 weird people had picked it up. I couldn't do it. I tried to remember what happened at the hospital, but instead I found myself thinking about the girl in the next room. My body was tired. My brain was telling me I needed to think about everything that had happened tonight, but I felt too exhausted. Freaking mood, man. So I took out the scrapbook from its usual spot on the shelf. The same articles, the same incidents from the past. I'd seen them so many times I was tired of reading about them. The newspaper article is from around 6 years ago during the Shibuya earthquake. I love how they've recreated the art. Like, it's clearly done like by a different artist, but the angle and everything is so similar. Like, it's on purpose, but I like it. The title was Robbery at a Refugee Shelter. My parents' names are in the article. Miyashiro Sayano, and Miyashiro Eriko. The article said the two of them had been killed by an unknown assailant. When I'd find out about this several months ago, I'd left the dorm and went to live at Miyashita Park. Oh, so he learned about how his parents died. And maybe, like, at first he'd, like, assumed that they'd been taken from him in the accident. Like, they died with all the other people who died in the accident, but instead it was a murder. And that drove him away? Huh. I've been told about my parents' death when I'd woken up from my coma about a year after the earthquake. But Dad and Kurusu told me that they died because of the earthquake. I closed the scrapbook and put it back on the shelf. Okay, so he felt like they lied to him. And he took it very personally. The fact that my parents were murdered instead of simply dying in the earthquake was a shock to me. But I think it was a lot less of a shock than Dad and Kurusu expected. I'd experienced the earthquake personally. I'd seen for myself how awful the looting and robbery was. And my parents had neglected me, spent all their time at work. Is he talking about before it? Yeah, neglect, a type of abuse. In this case, it refers to parental neglect of a child. Examples of neglect include failure to provide food, failure to provide care during times of illness, failure to provide a child with a sanitary environment, failure to show interest in a child, or failure to provide any type of general care. Neglect can also be shown to the elderly and disabled by those in a position to care for them. And sadly, I think the elderly and disabled are the ones that slip through the radar, because even though, like, everyone knows it can happen, not a lot of people check up on that stuff. Kids, thankfully, I mean, it's sad to say thankfully, but kids, especially because we have, like, you know, enrollment in public schooling, they keep an eye out for that kind of thing. And they can sometimes intervene when cases are getting really bad. But I've also seen cases that were pretty bad that they didn't intervene with because they also don't want to split up a family unless they absolutely have to. It's just sad. Neglect is one of the worst things that can happen because, like, what it is it's showcasing the powerlessness of people. Like, I don't know if you've ever had to do this, but I've walked into a home where you have a parent, like a mom or a dad, sitting on a phone, chatting, talking about stuff, and you know they're like they've been on drugs and things. And you walk in and you see 4 kids, you know, the oldest being like 12. And they're wearing the same clothes that you saw last time you checked in on the family, and they have a mattress on the floor. One mattress for all 4 kids in a 2-bedroom apartment. And yet they also have a giant TV that's always on. And the cupboards are bare, and you bring some candy over or a little, like, snack, and you hand it to the kids and just... It's just like they've never seen food before. And you don't have anything you can do about it. Because you're not sure if keeping them there or disrupting their family life and giving them somewhere else to potentially be just as neglected in the system. Sorry, that was a memory I haven't thought about in a while. It's just kind of got real. I don't know, man. Sorry. There's times where you end up doing things where you're working or in my case, doing charity. I was doing some volunteering, and sometimes you just see stuff, and you walk away and wonder if you should have done more. But you're not sure if you could have done more. And when you asked about it, you were kind of given a very ambiguous, probably not. And, so you just tuck your head down and you just try and do the best you can. But then you see those faces sometimes. And you wonder what happened. Where they are now. That was a while ago, now I think about it. Those kids are probably high school, maybe? I don't know, it's just kind of hitting harder tonight. It just feels a lot more real for some reason. Anyway. Sounds like the version of neglect that he had was parents who were too focused on work and didn't spend time with him. So neglect of his interest rather than a neglect of like food and water and clean clothes. The 5.5 years that had passed since their murder crushed any desire I had to find the killer and take revenge. No, maybe I never would have wanted to take revenge in the first place. My curiosity just made me want to find them.
そんなことより僕は
It was that they didn't tell you, right? It was shock to me that Dad and Kurusu were keeping it secret. There were 2 rules at Adoba dorm. After dinner, everyone would gather around the table to talk, and no one was allowed to keep secrets. Just before I'd left, we'd had a huge fight. During the fight, Kurusu told me she didn't want to make things any worse after I'd woken up from my coma. But at the time, that sounded like nothing but an excuse. I thought we weren't supposed to keep secrets, Kurusu. I called her by her last name. By the time I'd calmed down enough to think about how she must have felt, I'd already moved to Miyashiro Park. Suddenly there was a knock at the door.
はい。
私、入っていい？
Yui. It was Yui's voice. I told her she could come in. The door opened slowly.
どうした？
Aw, it's both of them.
ちょっと。
Oh man, I don't. I'm gonna be a mess for this episode, aren't I? You kids are cute. The 2 of them were together, like usual. Yuto looked like he was so tired he could barely stand. The only reason she'd brought him was probably because if he woke up in the dark alone, he'd be scared. This was another sight that brought me back a lot of memories.
久しぶり、タクルに。
Yeah.
ああ、ダメだろ、こんな時間に。
I didn't know how late it was exactly, but it was probably long past 3 a.m.
ちょっとくらいいいじゃん。ののね、大丈夫そうだった？
うん。今寝てるよ。
Man. I understand they probably were sitting out of it because, you know, they know they had to stay back, but at the same time, it sucks when you're a kid sometimes because you feel like you get kept out of the loop. In some cases, it's a good reason. You want to protect kids. You don't want them being too troubled, but kids are also kind of smart. They're smarter than you think. And they know when they're being left out. Even if they can't, like, know why, they know. They know they are, at least.
そっか、よかった。
Yui looked truly relieved.
まったく、ののねもいくら日課だからって、あんな時間にお参りなんて行くから。
え？
Oh, the memorial.
タクル兄からも言っといてよね。
クルスがお参りだって？
え？うん。帰ってきた時にそう言ってたよ。
My heart skipped a beat. What was Kurusu doing? How much could she?
あ、タクル兄ちゃん。
Alright. Taku, I gotta be real. You need to come back home. Why? Like, I understand you're upset. I think you've had time to cool off. Get out of the homeless park. For 2 reasons. Number 1, you are passing up on an actual family. Do you know how many orphaned kids probably from that earthquake that don't even have remotely what you got? Like, this is precious. They care. They genuinely care. And 2, like, I understand, like, him being upset. I totally get it. I think he's validated in being that upset. But he's taking resources from people who literally have no option. Like, it sucks, and I'm all about, like, get wind under your wings and fly, but there's only so many resources to go around in a park like that. He's got some prime real estate. There's a lot of homeless people probably need something, and he doesn't need to live in that spot. It's nice that he has a place he can go, and that the community's been supportive of him, more or less, but he should be here. He really should be here. Yuto suddenly opened his eyes.
どうした?
なんでも。
Then he put his head against Yui's shoulder and stopped moving. Yui sighed and held Yuto up so he didn't fall over.
タクルに何があったか知らないけどさ、とっとと帰ってきてよね。お風呂の掃除当番溜まってるんだから。あと買い出し当番も。
it's the chore chart. She's like, I've been cleaning the bathroom for you for a long time now. You owe me. I froze, unsure what to say. Aki, look at that. Look at that face. Yui gave up holding him steady and put him on her back.
部屋綺麗でしょ？のの姉がいつも掃除してるから。じゃあ、おやすみ。
あ。
Alright, Taku. What are you gonna do? I slid my hand across the desk. There wasn't a single speck of dust. The second I saw that, I felt a sharp pain deep in my nose and my vision blurred. I sat down, unable to stand. I felt a familiar sensation of the chair and stared at the wall I'd seen a million times before.
くそ。なんだよ。
When I'd left here, the biggest thing I'd felt wasn't rage at being betrayed by Dad and Kurusu, it was that I was different than everyone else. After I'd gotten so sick of the wrong-siders in elementary school that I just stopped going altogether, and after my parents had neglected me, this was the one place in my life had been different. Kurusu, Yui, Yoto, and had all lost their parents in the earthquake, just like me. This was a family, made of people who'd gone through the same thing. But I was different. I wasn't just a victim. I was a victim whose parents had been murdered. I was the one person who was different. I was special. Wait a minute, though. I actually just realized something. So his parents weren't paying much attention, right? And then he talks about how to do this. Like, what'd they say? He said they're murdered. Yeah, they've been killed by an unknown assailant. And parents had to woke up a coma. Okay, so like they were in a refugee shelter. Huh. I'm trying to think if like they might have been people we saw in the first game. I'm not sure. It wasn't like everyone else. Come on, dude, you gotta process, man.
弟というか家族でもなんでもないじゃんか
Sheesh, dude.
僕たちは
I hope you freaking regret that now. Gotta cry, dude. We gotta let it out. Then the tears started to flow. In my head, I apologized to Kurusu again and again. I sat there unable to get up from my chair. Man, it looked like a sumo sticker asked for someone for directions. Oh boy. Alright, at approximately 5 p.m. on October 6th near Shoto First Avenue, Shibuya, a girl walking home from school was asked by a suspicious man, "Do you know where I can get some chanko?" Chanko is a favorite dish of sumo wrestlers. The man asking her was around 30 years old, 170 centimeters tall, heavy set with black hair, whose face looked very similar to the face of the sumo stickers. Always stay on well-lit, heavily traveled roads. Carry a personal alarm with you. Information released by Shibuya Police. Questions and tips. Carry an alarm, huh? Alright, so... Lol. I lulled. Give the poor guy a break. Is it wrong for a fat guy to want some chanko? It's a jungle out there these days. People like us can't do anything without getting the cops called. Whose face looked very similar to the face of the sumo sticker? Whose face looked very similar to the face of the sumo sticker? Whose face looked very similar to the face of the sumo sticker? Are they sure he wasn't actually a sumo wrestler? Why? What's he got to do with the sumo stickers? And now you're a suspicious person just for asking for directions? What the heck? I'm gonna be honest, talking to a schoolgirl was a no-no. Talking to a schoolboy would also be a no-no. The only safe option would be to go to a real sumo wrestler and ask him. Actually, I think I saw the guy a week ago. He was running down Tamagawa Dori, really sweaty, kept mumbling, chunko, chunko, chunko. He really did look like the sumo sticker guy. Maybe he was a model for them. What's a sumo sticker? Someone tell me. Someone tell me if he ever actually got his chunko. And then this thing, he likes to respond. It's like a picture. I'd piss myself if a guy like that talked to me. That's true, to double faces. A guy who looks just like the sumo stickers? Says who, lol. The news said they found a sumo sticker at the scene of the Love Hotel killing last month. Maybe this guy was the murderer. Like he places the stickers each time he commits a murder? Oh. Japan is such a peaceful place. Get thee to the sumo ring. In other words, he's been looking for his chunko for a whole week. Let's hope that when they arrest him, they give him chunko instead of katsudon. Anyway, I feel like some chunko now. They're applying to the 17-1 here. Yeah, that's funny.
少しずつ。でも確実に、力士シールというものが、人々の間に不確実な噂として浸透し始めていた。噂は集団の中で憶測を呼び、ありもしない幻影、つまりは妄想を生み出していく。
Oh. Who's talking here? I thought it was Takuru talking, but maybe it's not.
一度動き出した歯車はもう、誰にも止められないのだということに、僕らは気づいていなかった。
Interesting. Once they start to turn, no one could stop them. Oh, Noah, how's it going? Was the desk always this cluttered? 0 p.m.? Is that supposed to be noon? As the whole school got excited for the start of the cultural festival in 2 days, our club room was quiet as a tomb. The only sound was Setika's occasional fiddling with her cell phone strap. But that would quickly stop, and only the silence would remain. Kazuki had even stopped playing ESO too. Everyone had looked miserable when they'd heard about Kurusu.
ごめん。お待たせ。
Alright, Mr. Random Teacher who's probably evil. The teacher came in with his usual dopey grin.
会議が長引いちゃってね。無茶なこと言われるこっちの立場も考えてほしいもんだよね。まったく。
Alright. Tell you what though, that's a mood. I need to be able to have this picture, put it on my phone and respond to random there's just times where this is like just encapsulates how I feel. He looked around at us and scratched his head.
新聞部のことなんだけれど。
Oh, right. They were going to shutter us, weren't they? Everyone looked at him. That's why we'd been waiting to hear what he had to say.
やっぱり、当分の間は活動休止にするそうだ。
Shutdown. I repeat the words in my mind.
決定ですか？
こうなっちゃった以上はね。
Kurusu hadn't told Yui Yuto, but before she'd been taken to the hospital, the police had asked her several questions. She'd had to tell them what she was doing out there. Of course she would, otherwise she would have no reason to explain the camera. And after the incident at the Love Hotel, the teachers probably had it out for us to begin with. Thinking back, it was a miracle we weren't shut down after the Love Hotel case. Actually, that's kind of true. It's impressive because, yeah, I think I would have if I were an adult and I saw heard that. Even like just hearing what happened, like it's insane.
ただ、一個条件というか命令というか、罪滅ぼしって言うんじゃないんだろうけど、なんて言ったらいいかな。
Spit it out, man. Just rip the band-aid off.
いや、何でもいいですから。何です。
ね。
He looked down at the paper he was holding.
君たち、渡部智明って知ってるかい？
Watabe Tomoaki? Is that the inspector guy? Like the inspector, what are we talking about? The investigator. Huh?
ネット記者のですか？
Oh, he's the journalist guy who like runs into places.
そうそう、ニコニア動画の。宮代くんよく知ってるね。
We're the newspaper club. Of course we'd know.
いえ。
Of course I knew it. He's famous to anyone who uses Nikyonan, and the club had just been talking about his video, been talking about the video he made the other day. And a lot of the class knew about him from his job at Nikyonan too.
彼から文化祭で新聞部と対談したいっていうオファーが来てるんだ。
Oh, so the school can't afford to have the newspaper club being active because it's bad PR considering the fact that they got caught in the Love Hotel and Kurusu got stabbed putting up a camera. But they have to have the newspaper club at the festival to be interviewed by a popular internet like celebrity, quote unquote, because it's good publicity. This school literally wants to have its cake and eat it too.
Huh?
なんで？
さあね、もともとうちの文化祭を渡部さんは取材することになっていたらしいんだけどね。ほら、うちって結構有名だから。
Oh my gosh, it's so freaking... That's stupid. What was it about the Restoration Festival? What's the true? It was true our cultural festival is considered to be part of the run-up to the big Shibuya Restoration Festival.
で、その際にぜひ新聞部と対談したいって言うんだ。なんでも君たちが作成した新聞に興味があるらしくてね。
Well, great. He probably just wants to know how we got our information since he scraped our story for the information he used in his article.
マジかよ。
The newspaper we'd made. He's probably talking about the video we'd made on the sumo stickers. The one that gotten all those views because Watabe had come out with the same article at almost the same time.
僕は知らなかったんだけど、最近結構有名な人らしいじゃないか。それで、学校側としては断りにくくてね。
He looks too young, but he's talking almost like a boomer. Like, it's this like attitude is like, I guess he's famous. He wants to talk about your newspaper. And they're like, we didn't publish a newspaper. We put an article on the website. He's like, it's the same thing, right?
活動は休止だけど、その対談だけはこなしてほしいって言うんだよ。対面として。いいかな。
You what? Screw the school. Let's do the interview. And let's talk about how the school doesn't like what we've done and is shutting us down. Let's give the school exactly what they want.
いいかなって言われても。
It was all so sudden. I was having a hard time processing it. And wait.
学校側からの指示なんですよね。
He nodded. Then we didn't have the right to refuse, did we?
わかりました。
よかった。いやー、本当は廃部って言われてたところ、この件で粘って休止にしてもらったからさ。
Oh, well, I mean, that's something. That wasn't funny.
対談は文化祭初日、あさってだから。細かい段取りはまた明日連絡するよ。あと、それから。
Yeah.
クルス君からの伝言なんだけど。
Oh.
部の活動自体は本日から休止だから、文化祭の記録映像を撮ったりはもうできない。その代わり、
Oh no.
生徒会の手伝いをしてほしいそうだ。自分の空いた穴を埋めてくれって。
I mean, okay, you know what? Fair. I was gonna say, like, how can she? She's betraying us, but no, like, she's been stabbed. I think we owe it to her to help her out when she needs us.
そっか。のんちゃん、会長だもんね。
今度の文化祭は盛り上がってるからね。手が足りないんだ。生徒会顧問としてもぜひ頼むよ。
I mean, that's cool. But we got punched in the face by the student council vice president last time. I'm not sure we'll be very like helpful if we're gonna get into a brawl. Normally, I turn down any requests from the student council.
でも。
Right now, it didn't bother me at all.
わかりました。
助かるよ。じゃあ後で生徒会室に顔を出してね。
渡部と対談ってマジか。
How dour it is in here, huh? Look at that. Look at us. That was a pretty big deal, yeah. No one had come to interview the newspaper club since its founding. But that wasn't entirely a good thing. The club had been shut down, but we were still having an interview with someone famous. And more than anything, I thought about Kurusu, who's still at home in bed. I also kind of like one thing I gotta give to Takuru, he's kind of dumb. He's very crazy. He's very delusional in multiple ways. Like, he has delusions, but he also just in general has a very skewed view of the world. But I like the fact that he's actually responding to the situation in like a human way. Like, he's actually willing to concede, like, you know what? I think I've been pushing too far. This has gotten out of hand. I need to step back. Like, we have a lot of main characters in a lot of stories that just are like, full steam ahead. This just proves and validates what we've been doing this entire time. It's like, no, this is more real. Sedeka stood up from her seat. She walked over to the windowsill and opened the window. Chilly air blew into the room.
Onoe?
What's she gonna do, start screaming out the window? Oh, she's definitely gonna start screaming. What the fetch are you doing? She suddenly leaned out the window and screamed. She's like, oh, that feels better. And then she leaned back inside and closed the window.
Yoshi! 切り替えようタク、しんちゃん、はなちゃんほら、タク、仕切ってよ
え？
のんちゃんからの頼まれ事でしょやれるとこからやろう
Alright, Sedeka looked right at me as she spoke. Ito and Kazuki turned toward me as well.
タク
Fine, fine. I slapped myself on the cheeks to help me focus. The place where Kaoru-Haru-kun had hit me still stung.
よし。じゃあまず、伊藤、生徒会室に行って生徒会から何をやればいいか指示を仰いできてくれるか。
俺？お前は？
僕は行かない方がいい。
I pointed to my cheek. Ito nodded. Kawaharu-kun is still the vice president of the student council.
ああ、私も行くよ
That's good.
わかった。じゃあ和樹は。
Oh, she's at the computer? Yeah, thought so. She's like, the drama's over, I can play again. She was going back to her game, huh?
何すればいいか分かったら手伝ってくれよ。
Mm-hmm. She nodded just a little.
お前は？
渡部との対談の準備をしておくよ。多分力士シールの動画に関することだと思うけど。
だよな。何なんだろうな。このタイミングで。
Oh, I don't know. He's got nothing better to do. That was a good question, yeah. Why would a reporter come meet with the people who had ended up starting the flame war over one of his articles? He definitely wasn't coming to apologize. Yeah, maybe he's gonna try and discredit us because, like, people were trying to discredit him using us.
しんちゃん行くよ
おう
See you guys. I pulled Watabe's article up on the screen.
まだゆるく炎上してるな。
Dang. Man, I wonder what it'd be like to have over 2,000 comments on something. That'd be insane. Alright. The pace of the comments was starting to slow down, but they remained basically negative. There's no way Watabe wouldn't have noticed that. Of course, he would have noticed our video as well. A lot of comments were posting the link.
なんだって言うんだ。
Did he want to ask us something about the sumo stickers? No, he wouldn't need to do an interview if that were the case. In any event, he'd uploaded a close-up photo of the sumo sticker at Revolving Dead, which we hadn't been able to incorporate into our video even though we'd been at the scene. We'd had to go back to the Love Hotel to upload a photo we'd taken of the street. from the street. To be honest, our article is basically the same as his, but his photos were a lot better. Couldn't imagine there was anything he wanted to ask us. Like I said, I think it's about trying to preserve credibility by tearing others down. So I think he's going to do an interview that's going to try and make you look bad, and it's probably going to work because he's pretty good at this kind of stuff.
もしかして、病院のこと？
I doubt it. How would he know about the hospital? That wasn't possible. Nobody but me and Seta can do about it. No, there's no point in thinking about it. I need to get ready for the interview and then do what Kurusu told me.
Huh?
Huh? Something bothered me, so I went over to the board.
回転デッドの力士シールのアップの画像は
Like the photo we took? Alright, well, we got the picture from the revolving dead over here. Sumo stickers there. Yeah, it's right there. So I see the picture there still, so it's not missing. Yeah, right there. Carefully remove the one that was on the board. Is it a different sticker? Oh yeah, look. Like this has like the dripping nose. 3 circles on the left side, 1 big one on the right. I knew it.
表情が違ってる。
Why? How's that work? I went back in front of the map and put the picture back on. The photo that we'd taken of the sticker and the sticker of Watabe's article were different. What was going on with that? Once everyone got back to the club room, I planned to talk with them about it. And thus the mystery continues. October 8th, 2015, Thursday. Now, if I remember correctly, right, October 10th is the next day that we're expecting the next like overlapping victim, like the last new gen killing and what will probably be the next one. So it's 2 days away, and I think that was the fingers one, right? 11:45 p.m. The Shibuya Earthquake Memorial. The town was silent, as if it didn't know she was there. She was standing before the names of the dead, as unmoving as the stone in front of her. In fact, it was hard to tell if she wasn't dead herself. The wind that blew down from the tops of the buildings refused to touch her scraggly hair. Is this the lady in the dress that apparently has like weird looking eyes? The eyes that poked out through her hair were cloudy and lifeless, and her lip was pressed into a frown. She must not have bathed recently because the smell around her was terrible. Her black clothes melted into the darkness, making the red jacket stand out a little against the gloom. And she's like dragging her foot. Oh, is she like a zombie? A sound came from her lips. She pressed her jaw together as if trying to crush a piece of meat. Her leg dragged along as she started to walk, her head facing the ground. In that moment, she stood out from the scene around her. The hair pressed against her face made it impossible to read her expression, but the most noticeable thing about her wasn't the stench or the sound of her gritting teeth. It was her anger and rage. The anger and rage covered everything about her. Her legs came to a stop. She reached out a glove-covered hand and touched the name on the memorial. She dug her fingernails into it. She scratched again and again as if trying to rub it out. Was it her name? Her nail broke inside the glove, unable to handle the force. Ow. But she didn't stop. She ignored the blood dribbling out of her glove as she didn't feel any pain. Red continued to stain the memorial stone. The date changed. It was now October 9th. There was only 1 day left until October 10th, the date of the next new generation madness killing. I hate that scratching sound. Ugh. Ami-chan. This one I did before, right? It's like the creepy story. I apologize for the wait. From Ed Lucas. The test images? And it's the Sumo's pictures. Spreading rapidly as expected. Maintain these things as they are. Yes. And the target? We'll make contact with a reporter named Watabe tomorrow. Kill him. What, the the reporter or Taku? Chapter 3, School Festival, the side of the festival's tale. Their side of the festival's tale. Ooh, October 9th, 2015, Friday. Didn't realize we are going to be starting a new chapter. It's a great time to stop. We're not going to stop yet. We're going to go a little bit into this chapter. So, yeah, again, it feels like there's multiple parties moving at the same time.
私の取材によって一連の事件はニュージェネレーションの狂気と呼ばれたあの事件を踏襲していると断言しても良いと思われるわけですが、その事実にこの私とほぼ同じくして気づいた動画がアップされていたのを皆さんご存知でしょうか。そうです、渋谷区にある碧峰学園の新聞部による動画です。
Right.
私のようにジャーナリズムを目指すと思われる若者たちがこうして育ってきていることは非常に喜ばしい限りです。
Watabe. So this is him. He's doing his TV show. Is this his studio? Because this is right. Why am I getting like drama alert like vibes from this guy?
そして当の渋谷ではあの忌まわしい事件からの再出発を記念すべく近々復興祭が行われることになっています。それに先立ちまして私はその碧峰学園にて明日文化祭が行われるという情報を入手いたしました。そう、その通り。さすが勘のいい皆さんはすでにお分かりのようですが、明日の午後文化祭中である碧峰学園に赴き新聞部に突撃インタビューを行おうと考えております。
Alright.
ジャーナリズムを目指す若者たちの今、そしてもちろん彼らがどのようにして私と同じ情報を得事件の裏に隠された共通点に到達することができたのかを突っ込んで聞いてみたいと思います。彼らとの対話によっては事件の犯人像にさらに近づけるかもしれません。真実の追求、それが我々ジャーナリストの使命であり証であります。
The pursuit of truth.
それでは本日の放送はここまでです。明日の対談、果たしてどんな話が飛び出すのか、そして事件の真相はお見逃しなく。
I will say, of course, especially in the modern world, it feels like it can feel really crappy what the news does, like the broadcast companies and even the private people. But I think freedom of the press is an important right, and just trying to badmouth people who don't say things you like and say that they should be shut down or have licenses removed is dangerous waters. Today's news was Watabe Tomoaki.
お疲れ様でした。
Oh, so he has a staff. Okay, so he's a production.
何がジャーナリストの使命だ。
え
He looks like such a scumbag. There's this smirk on him.
いや、なんでもないよ。
そうっすか。それより見てくださいよ。今日のカウント数新記録ですよ。
It's never enough, though. It's never enough.
それだけ世間の注目が高いってことっすね。
Thank you, Captain Obvious.
当たり前だろ。俺がやってんだから。
Because it's me.
え
いや。
そうっすか。まあ、明日の放送も楽しみにしてますよ。
任せておけ。明日はもっとカウントいく放送にしてやるよ。
Cool. I suppose.
そう。この俺の手でな。
And brings what? Yeah, I guess I could get the feeling that the vice president's gonna give us some real crappy jobs. put the cardboard box I was carrying down the desk. Finally, I was able to relax. Compared to the physical therapy I'd done after my coma, this was nothing, but my arms and legs were sore.
だいたいどうして僕たちが生徒会の仕事なんて。
そりゃ俺たちが生徒会に迷惑かけちまったからだろ。
I mean, kinda, yeah. Ito was standing next to the windowsill where the warm sunlight was pouring in. He looked comfortable. There was no one in the room but me and him.
確かに生徒会の仕事を手伝う約束はしたけどさ。いくらなんでもこき使いすぎだ。
It's a box, man. I understand it probably feels unfair, but it's not gonna kill you. I've been running around all day carrying one thing or another. I do hate moving though, so I get that pain. Everyone, myself most of all, knew I wasn't cut out for physical labor. Dude, that's your fault. And what's more?
伊藤、
Uh-huh. How the hell could he be playing with a smartphone when I was working so hard? After I complained, he said,
んなこと言ったってクレーム対応は嫌だって言ったのはお前だろ。
With just one day left until the festival, all the clubs had complaints and demands to make at the student council. They'd asked for someone who could listen to them and relay them to the student council, and I decided there's no way I could do that, so I'd left it to Ito. Yeah, so he gives Ito a job he doesn't want him to do, and then gets mad when he's doing that job. That's just classic manager.
それより見たかこれ。
Oh, baby, yes. Oh, let's see what this is. Get volume 1 of the hit manga series for free. Up to 50% points back. For multiple collections on the sale. I don't know if that's supposed to be a reference of game-wise. Yep. There you go. Oh, excuse me. Ito showed me his phone, which he'd been playing with.
なんだ。
さっき渡部が配信してたんだよ。明日のこといろいろ喋ってたぞ。
え？
Just like Ito said, the phone was playing a video that had gone up the last half hour.
それに見ろよこのカウント数。最近の報道でどんどん伸びてるっぽいし、明日は期待してもいいかもな。
I doubt it.
期待ね。
You think for a second we get any like anything that we get benefited from this conversation, he doesn't get like 100-fold?
なんだよそのリアクション。お前だって昨日は興奮してただろ。
You shouldn't be. It's gonna suck, I can tell you. I won't deny that I got a little excited when I heard about tomorrow's interview. However,
やっぱりいいように利用されているだけの気がするんだよな。
of course he is. He's probably gonna humiliate you too. In fact, I don't know if any of you are gonna be good at doing an interview with him. Frankly, none of you. But Takuru, you worry me a lot. Like I think Ito would probably do better than you because you tend to freeze.
そもそもあの情報自体、僕たちの方が早く配信してたんだぞ。それを渡部はいかにも同じタイミングだったみたいに扱ってる。
Even though he blatantly linked to the video in his article. It was a common media trick to suggest things that weren't true without actually lying.
自分の方が後出しだったってことをうやむやにしようとしてるってわけか。
ああ。
And it also felt like he was trying to use all the flame wars to get up his view count.
仮にそうだとしたらどうするんだよ明日のインタビュー。
I mean, we've already agreed the school wants us to do it. We'll do it and just understand we're probably going to come out with a bloody nose.
別に普通に受けるよ。それが学校側からの条件なんだから。
Exactly. No. Honestly, I'd like to shoot him down and show him up as a liar.
けど
The second I start getting a little excited, the mark left on my cheek after Kawahara-kun's hit started to ache. For now, I needed to focus on helping the student council, not the case.
あれ、そういえば川原くんは？
ああ、なんだっけ校庭にあっただろ。風鈴だかなんだか飾るやつ。
ああ、願い事がどうとかいう。
One of the classes was doing something about the Shibuya earthquake. They said we were making an area where you could write down a wish on a sheet of paper that would be tied to a wind chime. That sounds kind of sweet. We've been told to submit something, but I hadn't. To be honest, I didn't really like stuff like that.
あれの設置で走り回ってるってさっき。
Did we speak his name too many times? Like Beetlejuice, he's been summoned. Speak of the devil. Kawahara-kun frowned a little when he saw me. He started to open his mouth but closed it, glanced at the toe, then sighed, something in him deciding just to give up.
終わったのか?
Kawahara-kun was looking at the box I'd been carrying.
はい。じゃあ、次は受付にパンフ運んでくれ。パンフレットですね。わかりました。
いってらっしゃい
I glared at Ato and then picked up the box of pamphlets and went to leave the student council room. Kawahara-kun is still frowning at me. That's strange. I was sure he'd say something about Kurusu or at least insult me. Delusion time? No. After I finished carrying the pamphlets, I went to buy a drink from the vending machine. I didn't get some caffeine from a mountain view. I wasn't gonna be able to move on for much longer. Someone was tugging at the hem of my uniform. I quickly turned around.
はい、なんでしょう。
Oh, hi.
って和樹か。脅かすなよ。
What are you doing out here? I don't think I've ever seen your sprite outside the club room. She'd been sent to help with her class's display, which was just about finished up.
クラスの仕事終わったのか？だったら生徒会の方の手伝いを頼む。
Oh boy. Kazuki tugged even harder at my uniform.
いや、だから生徒会の手伝いを。
She's like, you don't understand. You don't get to say no.
もしかしてついてこいって言ってるのか？
She nodded. Right. Well, let's end on a happy note. I started things off with a depression. Her expression hadn't changed, but it seemed like she was having some kind of trouble. What was going on? Did she want me to help with something? I needed to get back to the student council room. But it was incredibly rare for Kazuki to actually come to me for help. It wouldn't be right just to ignore her. Alright, let's see what this...
わかったよ。
What nonsense.
しょうがないからついてってやる。
No way. Did Kazuki just grin? That was something you almost never saw.
それでどこへ行くんだ？
I faintly hoped that something incredible was about to happen. Kazuki grabbed my sleeve and started walking. She took me up to the roof of the school. Dude, this roof looks awesome.
Help me.
What the? I suddenly hear a girl's voice. I looked around, but there were only the two of us there.
なんだ、ただの空耳か。
Help me.
Okay. English? No, I wasn't imagining it. I really did hear it. I looked around again. But there's nobody there except for me and Kazuki, and there's no place for anyone to hide. Which meant...
もしかして、今の、和樹、お前か？
She's like, I'm from America, actually. I can't speak Japanese at all. I've just been doing the best I can. Aw, that's cute.
お前喋れたのか？
No, I mean, of course she could talk, but it was just really surprising, okay?
でもどうしていきなり。
Help me, Takuru Miyashiro. You are my only hope.
We're going Star Wars? She's freaking Princess Leia here? Just needs the cinnamon rolls on the side of her head.
は？
Huh? Why was she speaking English? Could Kazuki maybe not speak Japanese? Maybe she'd grown up outside the country. Maybe that's why she never talked. But her English doesn't seem very good. And then suddenly a loud fanfare played.
あっ！
What? Where was that sound coming from? As I looked around frantically, giant words appeared in the sky and started to scroll. Oh, you did it! Long time in galaxy, long ways off. It's freaking Spark Wars. Oh, crap. Can I pause it? Galactic Empire during Civil War of a century. I'll have to prepare to squad spying the rebellion is taking these plans. I have to save the whole universe of Galactic War. Fetch me. I'm glad I did this one. This is great.
今のって何？
I'll be like, what the fetch is happening? AR or projection mapping? I see, projection mapping. General term technology displays an image on an object or on an object or space rather than a flat surface. Images can be project mapped onto anything, such as human bodies, trees, or paintings, but it's especially common to project map onto buildings. The use of projection mapping on buildings and city stations and tourist sites is becoming more and more popular, both inside and outside Japan. Not so much anymore. We like high fidelity stuff now. Kazuki's expression didn't change at all.
私の本名はカーズキー・ハンナ。
Oh my
カー
gosh.
ズキー大聖団帝国である銀河帝王ルドルフ15世の第八王女です。
What the?
え
Emperor Rudolph, huh?
助けてください。
Help me.
ちなみにあなたは私の双子の兄です。
Oh, you're my twin brother. So with no kissing, that's weird.
あと最終的にあなたは生き別れの実の父親と戦うことになります。まあ、つまりルドルフ15世のことですが。
Obviously, because who else could it be? You have to have the who's I'm your father moment.
というわけで、助けてください。
Yeah, sure, why not? Let's just go on a caravanting around in space. That sounds fun.
というわけでとか言われてもな、ダイジェストで説明されても困る。
さあ、行きましょう。
Come, let's go! How could you say no to that face?
どこへ？
あの星の彼方へ。
Yeah, I'm on board. Let's do it. Let's get out of here. Does some part of me want to put on a Spark Wars play in the cultural festival or something? Who wouldn't? Hollywood movie franchise whose first entry released in 1977 yet still has an active fan base to this very day. You bet they do! Spark Wars is a space opera composed of 6 episodes. 6 episodes. But it was revealed that the original planned to be a 9-episode series. The innovative special effects used to bring its vast universe to life are still highly regarded, even many years later. That was 9 episodes, though. We kind of... It's funny, because we used to talk about the prequels, and they're cringy, for sure. Also, I just noticed that, like, the formula for the first game is literally on the screen right now at the top. I have, I guess, been there every time we've come to this page. I just hadn't noticed it. But Spark Wars, yeah, like, oh, it's supposed to be 9-episode series, huh? I wonder what because I think that is true. At least it's a rumor that it was like George Lucas originally envisioned a 9-episode series. But I wonder where he would have taken it. They'll never tell. Like, I think he contractually can't anymore. But man, wouldn't it have been cool to hear what he wanted. Oh well. Not the universe we live in, sadly. Can I change world lines, actually? Maybe if I could send a D-mail, that's probably what that might be one of the things I would try. I'd be like, can we just make the prequels not, like, the sequel trilogy just not happen? Or at least be different? That surprised even me. But Spark Wars was too old for a high school kid to use in a play. I considered this as I walked. The next thing I knew, I was in the courtyard. Kazuki stopped in front of some large object with a vinyl covering on top of it. What was this thing? Kazuki stared at it for a moment, then pointed at it.
もしかしてこれを運ばなきゃならないとか？
She nodded, but what was this thing anyway? No. Let's build a gun barrel project? It's a gunpla? Although, like the art actually reminds me a lot more of, what was it? My Darling, Darling in the Franxx. Like the mechs in that. She took a piece of paper out of her pocket that looked like some kind of handmade flyer. In bright colors, the big letters said, Class 1A's Let's Build a Gun Barrel Project, which is, it's supposed to be Gundam. Short for Mobile Battle Gun Barrel. 3-part anime series that aired from 2012 to 2015. This show featured a total of 155 episodes. Wait, 3-part anime series that came out across 3 years and pumped out 155 episodes? That's insane! What? The program took on a unique approach to marketing, broadcasting in 110 countries before releasing in Japan, causing a boom to occur in those countries far before it did in Japan. It was created to target the teenage male demographic with toys and other merchandise products for it, just like any other mecha anime. However, the Egyptian mythology motif behind the story and its impressive CGI battles made it popular enough to receive a movie adaptation. Despite this final episode of the 3rd season was recently inexplicably cancelled in a very controversial move even among the show's biggest fans. The story is about Dodo Genki, a 14-year-old boy who pilots a martial arts robot known as the Ka Trooper. A global-scale epic unfolds around him, spanning the past, present, and future. The Season 1 theme song was sung by a gothic punk band known as Phantasm. Oh, Phantasm, really? Are they still a thing? Which had a fairly large cult following at the time. That's interesting. Because Phantasm, when we were hearing from them, were still kind of like, you know, a garage band. Like, they just kind of were doing their own thing, and they were selling stuff, right? But it was, like, super localized, very, like, niche. But to have them actually be featured as a song in it, that's interesting. Also, unfortunately, I thought it was supposed to be a Gundam thing. I'm not too sure what this is now. Like, it's supposed to be a spoof of something, but I'm not sure if I'm recalling it. Like, it sounds... I'm sure I should at least be familiar with what it's supposed to be playing off of, but I can't think of it right now.
頑張れるってアニメの？
Gun Barrel was an anime that started back when I was in middle school. While most anime these days only lasted 3 to 6 months, Gun Barrel had been on forever. In fact, it had just ended the other day. And some idiot had decided to cancel it just before the last episode could air, and that has to cause a huge uproar. All this made Gun Barrel a truly legendary anime.
これって和樹のクラスの展示物？
I see. They must have been attempting to make a model of the robot from the anime. Oh gosh. And so they'd made all the parts of the courtyard, now they had to get them to the classroom.
でもなんで和樹が一人で運ばなきゃならないんだ？クラスの連中は？
I followed Kazuki's gaze over to the entrance and saw the students in pairs happily carrying large objects covered in sheets.
なるほど。ぼっちには辛い状況だな。
Aww. Don't kick me in the shin. And if you're gonna kick me in the shin, don't do it so hard. She's like, you're my friend. Shut up and help me.
誰がぼっちだ？違うわ。今日はたまたま仲のいい子が休んでるだけだから。
Oh, of course. I totally have a girlfriend. She's at another school.
すまん、僕の勘違いだ。
I decided to play along.
で、僕にどうしろと？
Aww.
代わりに運ぶのを手伝えって？でも、これって重いんじゃないのか？
Oh no. Don't look at me with those puppy dog eyes. Fine. Normally I would have found some way to get out of it, but here's the thing though. She's responding to him, like, don't look at me with those puppy dog eyes, and fine. But he didn't say anything. She's responding like she's reminding me of Kozupi, being able to hear his thoughts. Because so far, it's like she's heard him say those things, because like he said fine, she turned around. Sorry, I skipped that line. Normally I would have found some way to get out of it, but if the Kurusu wanted to help the cultural festival succeed, I didn't have a choice. I reached down to grab the object under the sheet.
よし、そっち回って。さあ、いっせーので持ち上げるぞ。行くぞ。いっせーの。
Break your back.
おい。お前リズム感ないのか？完全にずれてるぞ。遅い。
We weren't in sync at all. She would lift up the moment or two after I did. Because of that, we almost dropped it to the ground.
僕が悪いみたいな顔をするなよ。もう一回やるぞ。
うん。
一斉。
うん。
今度は早っ。もういい。和樹に僕が合わせるから、とにかく持ち上げろ。
And she started to lift, I did too. We staggered, but managed to keep it steady.
よし。それじゃ、このまま運ぼう。
Let's get this over with before it breaks us. We slowly headed toward Kazuki's classroom, counting 1, 2, 1, 2, or each knee, to keep ourselves in unison. Of course, I was the only one who actually spoke.
そこんとこ角になってるからな。気をつけろよ。
We made it to the stairs. Oh no, this is where things got hard.
先に登って。そうそう。そのままゆっくりゆっくり。
Good man, good
踏み
man.
外すな。踏み外すんじゃないぞ。
He's taking the majority of the weight and relying on her to guide them. But making Kazuki go up first so I could hold it from the bottom was a mistake.
あ、おい。
Uh-oh. Even after my warnings, Kazuki slipped and... Oh no. That's a good one. Oof. That's a good way to get hurt. Are we about to have a scene? But like, here. Voice actor earned their money that day. Dang it. I told you not to trip. We were just lucky we hadn't climbed up that much.
大丈夫か、和樹。
Oh. Hi. Airbags have been deployed. This situation is... something you see all the time in anime, isn't it? We'll do one of these. But can I pass up this, really? We'll do one of these. I think we've suffered enough today. Let's have some fun. Anyway, we need to do something about this. Kazuki is so light, though. Well, she isn't very tall, but she has a pretty good body. So actually... Wait, what am I thinking? What if someone comes by and sees us? This girl's hopeless. Better do something quick. But part of me wants to enjoy the sensation a little more. This is definitely gonna trigger people. No, definitely not! No way!
ほら、和樹。とにかくそこどいて。
What? Huh? Did we body swap? Is that what this is happening? Wait a second. Was that my voice?
変だな。なんか、喉の調子が。
Dude, that'd be insane. What's going on here? I knew it. Those were definitely my words. Which meant that my voice had turned into a girl's? No, that's not right. Then why am I staring at my own face?
Huh?
Maybe...
僕と和樹の中身が入れ替わった？
If this is her voice actor, by the way, she actually, she's got a good voice.
嘘だ。そんなバカなことがあるわけが。
But I fearfully touched my chest.
Oh.
The sensation I felt was a very unfamiliar one. Wait a second. This feeling is...
なんだろう。想像していたよりもずっと硬いぞ。硬すぎる。
Oh no.
アニメなんかでボヨンボヨンと揺れている表現があるから、まるでマシュマロみたいに柔らかいのかと思っていたけれど。いや、待て、違う。そうじゃない。そうか。これは。ブラジャーをしているからか。
Oh my gosh. I hadn't considered that.
つまり、ブラを取れば、もっと柔らかい本体が出現するということになるな。
Okay, I understand that this is definitely something that you're gonna want to try, but it's also still like, I like how he goes, oh, I switched bodies, and then like he's just completely absorbed in this thought train.
でもブラのホックを外すなんて女子と付き合った経験のない男子にとっては難関中の難関だ。
I mean, it's not like it's rocket surgery. It's not that hard.
自分の背中にあるホックなんてどうやって外してるんだ。
Can most people not do this? Like, I could reach back up here if I were wearing one. Like, not that I have experience wearing one per se, but like I could definitely like reach back here, or you can go overhead. But going like there, like that's not too bad. But then I realized there was no need to go through all the trouble on doing the hook.
そうか、ブラそのものを上にずらせばそれでいいじゃないか。
Oh my gosh. I gulped a little as I yanked the bra from over my uniform. I could feel the contents being released from the pressure.
おお、これはすごい。
Imagine like, if this were actually happening and she's just sitting there in his body watching this, be like, what the fetch is happening? I jumped a little. They shook. I was exactly like the anime. So that wasn't an exaggeration.
というか、カズキってもしかして、いや、もしかしなくても、むちゃくちゃ胸が大きいぞ。
I imagine that's evidence. Why did you need? Why is whatever? She was definitely the owner of a gigantic rack. As a guy, the idea of having globes of fat hanging off your chest is a very strange one. Maybe that was the reason why my shoulders felt a little stiff. So it was also true that girls with large breasts had stiff shoulders. Wow, and the grass is green and the sky is blue. What revelations will you bring upon us next? I'm kind of regretting this one now. Anyway, my breasts, that is to say Kazuki's, were currently not covered by a bra. I wanted to see, I had to see. Were these two twin mounds as soft as I'd imagined them to be? I couldn't fight the overwhelming sensation of curiosity. I brought my hands up to my chest like it was the most natural thing in the world. And softly cupped my own breast. What am I saying? This is one of those things that gets clipped out of context and looks real weird. Oh my gosh. And he/she is drooling. This is something else. What are we looking at here? Also, like, to be fair, her body proportions are just outrageous. Like, that doesn't look, she doesn't look human. Like, she looks too, like, it's all, the proportions are just way too much.
すごい。こんな。
And then I, or more precisely probably Kazuki, who was in my body, ran up to me. She had tears in his or her eyes and was glaring at me. Yeah, I wonder why. It's like being violated, but like from outside.
え？バカ！変態！
Okay, first of all, she speaks through him. Second of all, look at his face. He's so pissed off. I felt a powerful impact on my face. My vision went black. Wait, was that a manga, an anime, or novel, or something else? Never thought I'd get into I was into gender bending stuff. I mean, in this context, it's a term encompassing a broad range of media that deals with characters who change sex. But that got me a little excited. Maybe it was a bad idea to stay like that.
カズキ、怪我はないか？ほら、じゃあ立って、早いところこれ持っていこう。
Fortunately, the gun barrel part wasn't damaged at all. We headed to Kazuki's classroom, being careful not to trip this time. Oh, that was fun.
1の A、ここか。
うん。
A girl near the entrance saw Kazuki and ran over. She looked like a normal average girl.
カズキ運んできてくれたんだ。てっきりバックレたのかと思ってた。あれ？てか、こっちの人は？
あ、いや、その。
ああ、知ってる。確か新聞部の。明日渡部と対談するって。
Oh my gosh. Okay, so yeah, mainstream people figured it out too now, huh? How did she know?
君は
大河内って言います。
Okay, I'll go to.
いや、名前じゃなくて、知ってるんですか？その、渡部殿。
やだ、みんな知ってますよ。噂になってるし。
That surprised me. I thought only a few people at the school would know about Nico non-reporter. I had no idea a girl like this, who I didn't look like she kept up with the news at all, would know about it. And there were even rumors going around about it. Well, granted, it's a decently sized like content creator coming to like your school. Even if only a few people really know about the guy, the rumors would start to spread and people would look up the guy because now it's like, oh, who's this random person apparently is coming that's supposedly kind of a big deal.
頑張ってくださいね。楽しみにしてますから。
Like, I think an example, like if like Mr. Beast is like almost too big for this like for the analogy to work. So I'm gonna go with who's a content creator that's big but not like crazy humongous. Okay. I'll say a good example. This is actually a decent example. If RT Game were to show up at like a high school in your local area, he's a very big like influencer. If he's like in the right circles, a lot of people will know him and know who he is. But there's a majority of people who probably aren't going to be ingesting that type of content. But I think if they found out and they saw like a poster or heard rumors about like, oh, RT Games coming and giving like a TED talk at our school, people would look up his channel and figure out like, who is this guy? Like, why is he coming to our school?
はい、ありがとうございます。
Kazuki ignored the two of us and took the part inside, then silently put it on the floor. No one tried to help her. But as I went over to her,
わざわざすいません。あとはこっちでやっとくんで、そこに置いといてください。
the girl, Okuchi said that to me. I did as I was asked and left the room. And then Kazuki followed me. Hi.
何？
Aww. We get the smile of thank you. She offered me a lollipop. Is this the one you had in your mouth?
くれるのか？
Was this her way of thanking me? But
それ食べかけだろ。
she's like, that's the point. She sighed and put it back in her mouth and took out a small bag from her skirt pocket. It was dried squid. I'll take the used sucker, please.
どうも。手が空いたら生徒会の方も手伝ってくれよ。一応部員なんだから。
Oh, no, I'm terribly busy. I have demons to slay. Kazuki shrugged and walked up the stairs. Maybe she's going back to the club room to play her game some more. I probably couldn't count on her help. October 9th, 2015, Friday. All right, we're going to end here. Feels like a decent dividing point, so, and a pretty good length episode. Actually, pretty long, but like, man, this game's really good about being like, yeah, we got more to do, more stuff to talk about, so we'll just keep going. But thank you guys so much for all being here today. Thank you so much for your support on the channel, especially with this week. It's been a little bit of a hectic one, emotionally and just every other way. Like, even today, it's like, whew, that just hit real hard today. Life goes on, though, and we'll move forward somehow, right? Thank you so much for being a part of it, and hopefully you've had a great week. If you celebrate Easter, I think Easter is being celebrated this weekend, so I hope you have a good Easter. And if you don't, I don't know, whatever you do, I guess technically it's also Passover for if you're Jewish. Ramadan, I think, is around this time, but I'm not 100% sure about that. I don't really like... I like the history of religion. I don't really pay a whole lot of attention to like kept practicing it. I just kind of, I love the story of the past of humanity, and religion's a big part of it. So I've learned some stuff about it, but yeah, I think I saw a post somewhere that was talking about like there's a bunch of holidays happening right now. So if you celebrate any holiday, whether it's because of religious reasons or just because it's a cultural thing, hope you have a good time with whatever's going on. Keep safe, keep sound. Hopefully you got some more good stories to share and talk about, but also make sure you're spending time with your family and friends, and I think that's kind of the one of the messages that was happening in the last episode. This episode is like, just because things aren't always perfect and just because things get hard doesn't mean we shouldn't cherish the people who are around us, because you never know what'll happen, and we should hold on to those treasures while we've got them. So anyway, enough reminiscing about stuff. Thank you so much for being here, especially to the patrons and members. You're wonderful. All of you are so great. I'm so happy to have you on the channel, and I can't wait to share more stories with you in the days to come. So until the next video you're watching me up and see me in next. I'll see you there.